Clients often ask me if I can videotape an interview subject with a window behind them, and I almost always say no. It's something I can do, and it's something I've done, but I generally don't like the idea. And that's because, number one, the background is almost always irrelevant to the subject. The person with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background doesn't really make their point any better or worse. It doesn't add anything. And frankly, you don't want something that's more interesting than your speaker. Your speaker should always be the most interesting thing in the frame. Because I do tend to like close-ups, since we're talking to a person, they tend to block the background anyway. So you think they're going to see ships in the bay behind them? Mostly, they're really not. So it's not relevant. You're not going to see much of it anyway. I don't like the fact that it sometimes routes a speaker to a specific time and place. For example, the San Francisco Bay Area, when you have an international audience. Not a big fan of that. But probably most importantly is there's almost always sunlight coming in through that window. And that's a pretty darn robust source of lighting. So what I have to do inside the room is I have to compete with the sun and create enough light to balance out the sun coming in through the windows. Now that can be done, but it's difficult. Usually I can put an ND filter on the window, or I may have to bring in some HMIs, which are pretty intense lights, which usually have to be rented. So it does add some cost to the production. Now that said, I have done this a few times. It's not really all that complicated. Like I said, it's just maybe a little bit more cost and a little bit more pre-planning. But that's my thoughts on having somebody shot in front of an open window.